Okay, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So, we've done gender, which is very, very straightforward. For the Madi, it's a ta and a sakin at the end. For the Mudari, it's a ta at the beginning. You swap the letter with a ta. So that's very, very straightforward. Now we're going to do something else, just adding to verbs. And this characteristic is called voice. So I'll explain what voice is. So for now, we're not going to speak in Arabic or anything. We're just going to think about some sentences. All right? So, here's a sentence for you. The thief stole the bike. Okay? The thief stole the bike. And put a full stop at the end because my daughter will remind me that I never did that. So, the thief stole the bike. Now, where's the verb in this? Stole. Okay, so we know that's the verb. Yeah, so we'll mix up some Arabic, so we'll put a fi'l there, which is essentially a verb. Who stole the bike? Thief. Okay. He stole the bike. Now that's a fi'l. This one here, that's a fi'l. But we also know who did the fi'l. Who did the action? The thief. Right? Anybody know the word in Arabic when we know the person or when we know something? What's this word? Ilm. Ilm means knowledge. One of the words that comes out of ilm, yeah, because knowledge basically is knowledge. So this is a separate thing, but you'll remember it this way, inshallah. Knowledge means to uncover, like to know something. The opposite of knowledge, which is prevalent in our community, sadly, is jahala, ignorance. People are living in ignorance, even including Muslims, if you're honest with ourselves, right? And there's a famous Arabic saying, by the way, الناس أعداء لما جهلوا. So I'll teach you a bit of Arabic as well. الناس أعداء وأعداء لما جهلوا. Yeah, so people are enemies of what they don't know. When people don't know something and they're ignorant, and you teach them something or you show them something new, usually what happens is, because they're ignorant people, they sometimes have enmity towards you, because most people have a very closed mindset or narrow mindset, which is actually opposite of what Islam actually teaches. Islam teaches you to have an open mindset, a confident mindset. Anyway, I've just gone off on a tangent, but that's important. So ilm means to know. One of the words that comes out from ilm is ma'loom. Ma'loom means something known. Known. We say in Urdu, usko ma'loom hai. Yeah, we know. So here, we know who did the stealing. So that's called fi'l ma'loom. Yeah, for now. So let me give you an example in Arabic now. So everybody's okay with that. And you do this in English all the time. Yeah. So if I give you an Arabic example, Arafa, the one that's in the book, Arafa al-Rajulu. Now, I'm going to stop for a second, not get ahead of myself. So, Arafa al-Rajulu. Arafa al-Rajulu al-Waladu. Okay? No, al-Walada. Okay, so I'm going to just teach you a few things that's not in the book, because you might have read this beforehand. So I'm going to go through this really, really slowly, just to show you something. Now, where's the verb in here? Can you spot the word, even if you don't know the meaning? Arafa. Yeah, you all know this, because you're kind of getting used to seeing verbs now in the Quran. So you know what a verb basically looks like. Arafa. Yeah. So the translation for this is the man recognized, and recognition is a verb, So it's arafa, rajulu, arafa, yeah, arafa. The man recognized the boy. Okay, that's the example that you have. The man recognized the boy. Now in this one we have a verb, and who recognized? Who was the one that recognized? The man, right? Not the boy. The man. It was a man who did it. Who did the action? Who did the action? Right? So that's called fi'l ma'loom again. But here we have a word for it. He's the subject. Because he's the subject of it. Right? It was him that ate the apple. It was Yasin who rode the bicycle. So they're the subject. But it's called a fi'l because we know who did it. So that's called a fi'l ma'loom.
So is that interchangeable for us then? Fi'l ma'loom, subject. Can we use that in our head as a translation?
What do you mean, sorry?
So if I say in English, the subject of the sentence is always going to be, for that one, the man.
Yeah.
So I can write subject, or that's the fi'l ma'loom.
Yeah. Just yeah. Is that okay? Yes. Yeah. So the man recognized the boy. Now I'm going to add something in, just so you don't need to know this right now, but just so you know this as we're now building a little bit now. So we're going closer and closer to Quran, inshallah, and to advanced Arabic now. So have you noticed on the rajul, what state is it in? Marfu. What state is a mansub? What state is walad in? Mansub. Why is that? Why have you mixed us up now? Maulana, you've been telling us mansub majroor, and now all of a sudden you've been throwing these things in. So now you're gonna know. Now you're gonna start understanding ma'rif mansub majroor a little bit more now. So whenever that's the subject, isn't it? Yeah. So whenever the person is doing something, for now, he's gonna be marfu. This is how you know, because arafa ar-rajulu, the man recognized. And the only way you can work it out in Arabic generally is that you need to know where the Zamma Fatah Kasra is. Because you've seen the Zamma on there, because you've seen that now you know it was a man who recognized. Right? And the walada, that's actually called the object. What did he recognize? What did he hit? What did he eat? Yeah? And that's because it's the object that's going to be mansub. Yeah? It's actually very, very important. If you get this mixed up in certain places in the Quran, I don't have the Quran with me right now, the one about Adam alayhi salam. وَعَصَى آدَمُ رَبَّهُ آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَى. Yeah? I think that's the one. But there's a verse in the Quran where if you get the Zaman Fatah mixed up, you actually change the entire meaning. Because think about it, if you had عَرَفَ الرَّجُلَ وَالْوَلَدُ, then it would have been the boy recognized the man, for example. Right? You would have basically changed the meaning. You would have made one person the victim and the other one the perpetrator. So this is not there in the book. I'm just mentioning it. You don't need to know it for now, but it's just there that you'll see these things. So عَرَفَ الرَّجُلُ الْوَلَدَ. So this is called fi'l ma'loom in Arabic, because we know who did it. We know the subject. Everybody okay with that? Yeah. What's another scenario? Without me going on to the next stage. What would be an alternative state to fi'l ma'loom? You know the subject. You don't know the subject. Because it can happen. Tayyib got hit. What was the verb? Hit. But who's the subject? You don't know. He's the object. Allah protect him. But, he got hit. Zaraba tayyibu. Right? Zaraba tayyiba, sorry. Right? So, it'll be Zuriba, we'll go in a second. But the point is that Tayyib got hit. We don't know who did it. Yeah? So that's important to bear in mind. So that's the next type that we want to go. That's the second type. So either you'll know who did the action, or you won't know who did the action. Because it can happen. We don't know who stole it. We don't know who ate the apple. Yeah? And this is actually important in the Quran. So if you think about, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam, who broke the statues? Yeah, who broke the statues when they started asking for them? Yeah, so this is something to bear in mind as well. I don't want to save it. Okay, so new sketch. Don't save. So let's do the second type, which is called. So that was called an active voice. So active voice means you know who did it. The other one, when you don't know, it's called passive voice. We actually have this. This is actually true in English as well. It's passive. Yeah? So it's actually a grammatical thing as well in English as well. Passive voice, right? When it's a passive voice, all that will happen is the verb will change slightly. Okay? So let's stick to the one that we did before. So let me just do the active one again, bring it up again. So let's just bring the active voice, the same example. Yeah? عرف الرجل عرف الرجل الولد. Yeah. That's the active voice. We know who did the action. We know that it was a man that recognized the boy. Okay? Then you can also have a passive voice. So we don't know who did it. Passive voice. Right? Now remember, because the passive voice here, think about the sentence here. عرف الرجل. Rajulu is a subject, isn't he? Yeah? And that's a verb. And that's the object. But to get to a passive voice, right, we have to remove something. We have to get rid of the subject. Because the point is that we don't know who did it. Yeah? So what you'll do is you'll bring this down. That has to be omitted because we don't know who it is. So all you do with a verb, let me get rid of the pink, is you will do this. So this is arafa, as you know. The last word will have a fatha on it. The middle letter will have a kasra on it. And the first word, or first letter rather, will have a pesh on it. Urifa. Arafa to urifa. Yeah, urifa. That's what you're going to do. You'll get used to this. Arafa, urifa, sami'a, sumi'a, yeah, kasara, kusira, like this. So that's how you do it. It's very, very straightforward. I'm not writing the rules down, I'm just teaching you it. So you can have time to practice it, inshallah. And all you do now this is the trick you have to also remember. Can you see al-walada? You bring that down as you normally would. Now you can't bring the rajula in because he's not the subject anymore. Urifa al-waladu, because it's come here now. So the translation will be the boy was, past tense, recognized. Does that make sense? That's all you do. You do the same thing in English all the time. You just don't know that you're doing it in a passive or active sense. It's very, very important that you recognize this generally when you're reading newspapers as well, because it can be political when you use an active tone and a passive tone. Yeah. So it's important when you're reading stuff, you're aware of how people do this. So all you're going to do is you're going to have arafa and urifa. So the main thing you really need to know for now is how to convert these two. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a few examples, just so we can do it, inshallah. So I don't know if you got any here. Okay, so let's just do the example that's in the book. So you have ba'atha, yeah, to send, yeah. Bu'ithtu, the Prophet says, Bu'ithtu li'utammima muqarim al-akhlaq. I've been sent to beautify people's character. Allah give us beautiful character, inshallah. Bu'ithtu, ba'atha, right? Ba'atha. How would we make that? So that's an active tense. Is it an active tense? Yeah, it's an active or active voice rather. How would we make that into a passive one? Bu'itha. Very straightforward. Excellent. Bu'itha. Okay. Bu'itha. And that's a passive one. How would we translate that? So ba'atha means he was sent. Is that right? He was sent. Anyone know how we
He was sent or he sent?
Yeah, he sent. Oh, yeah. So he sent. So it should be he sent here. And he was sent. Yeah? But we don't need to go into all of that right now. We'll go into that later on. We'll do some more examples after namaz, just so you guys get into it, inshallah. Jazakallah.